listened to Santa Monica and felt the raw energy, the anger, the yearning, and the undeniable truth in every note, that's Art Alexis. He grew up in the gritty streets of Delray, dodging trauma like bullets, an absent dad, childhood violations, addiction by 12, and the loss of loved ones. Yet, instead of disappearing into that darkness, he picked up a guitar and turned survival into song. From nearly drowning himself at Santa Monica Pier to turning Everclear into a 90s alt-rock powerhouse. However, it was not all sunshine and rainbows. So grab something stronger, because this ain't your typical rock star redemption tale. It's a lot. Who wants a glass? Art Alexis' early life was a full-on emotional roller coaster with no seatbelts. Born Arthur Paul Alexis on April 12, 1962, Art came into this world already dealing with a hot mess. Daddy went MIA by the time Art hit 6, left his mom to hold it down solo with 5 kids. Sis had no choice but to pack up her children and move into the Mar Vista Gardens housing project, aka the rough and tumble west side of LA and Delray.
Moving to a housing project in Culver City, which is about 10 miles from Santa Monica.
And just when you think it couldn't get worse, it did. At just 8 years old, Art was violated by older kids in the neighborhood.
And I got beat
Wow.
by him.
And instead of therapy or some kind of intervention, my man turned to alcohol. By 12, he's at his friend's place and almost lost his life from a cocaine overdose. Thank God for a neighbor with medic training who jumped in and saved his life. But did that scare him straight? Oh no, Art said, let's level up. At 13, he started messing with heroin. As if there wasn't enough trauma to fill a season of euphoria, tragedy slammed him again. His 15-year-old girlfriend and his brother both lost their lives to heroin overdoses, 1 week apart.
I was 12, he was 21, and instead of going away from the drugs, I ran to it.
Art almost offed himself in high school. Santa Monica Pier, weights in his pockets, ready to sink like a stone. We're talking peak teenage misery in the 70s. He went to Santa Monica High, rubbing shoulders with future Hollywood troublemakers like Emilio Estevez and Sean Penn. Somewhere between skipping class and dodging his demons, he picked up a guitar. That might have been his first real save.
I started playing guitar when I was 14, 15 years old. Just a weird kid with a bad attitude.
Then in 1989, he almost lost his life to an overdose, and after that, he quit doing pot.
Clean and sober for almost 18 years.
He packed up whatever pride he had left and moved to San Francisco. In San Francisco, he somehow ended up working as a production coordinator for a graphic arts company. Not exactly rock and roll, but it paid the rent. A coworker threw him a lifeline, hooking him up with a gig running a tiny label called Shindig Records. He pulled together a compilation of cowpunk bands, because apparently that was a thing, and even played in his own group called Colorfinger. And oh, Colorfinger had opinions. Their track Kill Jerry stirred up controversies. People were not amused, but hey, controversy sells. By the early 90s, Shindig ran out of cash, and just like that, Art was unemployed again. No backup plan, no severance, just vibes. While licking his wounds in San Francisco, he met Jenny Dodson, a record store clerk with better instincts than him. They dated, and before long, she was pregnant. So they packed it up and moved to Portland, Jenny's hometown.
Colorfinger broke up. I met a girl in Portland when I found out she was going to have a baby, my oldest daughter, Anna.
With diapers incoming and no steady paycheck, Art had to pick a lane, ditch the dream and get a real job, or go all in on music one last time. He chose chaos, put an ad in the Rocket that said, and this is verbatim, looking for bass player and drummer to form a band. Influences include Pixies, Sonic Youth, X, Neil Young, Led Zeppelin. Spelled bass and lead wrong. Didn't care. Somehow it worked. Craig Montoya, bass, and Scott Cuthbert on drums answered the call. Their first rehearsal went down in 1991 when Art's newborn daughter, Annabella Rose, was literally 4 days old. So the trio, Art, Craig, and Scott, decided to call themselves Everclear. Because what's more fitting for a band just scraping by than a nod to cheap, regret-filled grain alcohol? Their first rehearsals were a mess. Not even a solid riff to be found. But they didn't quit. They kept grinding, kept showing up, and kept playing those lousy gigs. Eventually, Art traded his old equipment for $400 worth of studio time.
$100 worth of recording time, which is 40 hours at $10 an hour.
The result? The Nervous and Weird EP and World of Noise both dropped in 1993. The sound was a raw mix of punk and grunge, gritty and unapologetic. Their lyrics weren't sugar-coated either. AIDS, domestic violence, homelessness. Not exactly a party playlist, but hey, it hit hard, especially in Portland, where it quickly became the city's anthem of angst. Before they knew it, Everclear was headlining shows all over Portland.
Bands and people are writing about it, all the papers. There's,
At the height of Everclear's early buzz, Art Alexis had labels swarming like bees to honey. At first, 27 labels wanted in, but the moment he laid down his terms, total creative control, self-producing his records, the number nosedived. Within an hour, it dropped to 12. A week later, just 8. By the time the dust settled, only 4 offers were still standing. And out of those, Alexis chose Capitol Records, despite having released songs under TK Records in Portland.
Signed to Capitol before Sparkle and Fade. This album had come out on an indie label in Portland called TK Records.
Sparkle and Fade dropped in '95 and started off like a slow burn. The lead single, Heroin Girl, was raw as hell. Art pulled from real pain. A girlfriend lost to substances and his own brother who OD'd. When the cops found his brother's body, one of them shrugged and said, "Just another overdose." That exact line ended up in the song. No filter, no fluff, just truth. MTV's 120 Minutes gave it love, and it hit the alternative charts. But it wasn't the song that blew the door open. That would be Santa Monica. That one exploded. It shot straight to #1 on the mainstream rock chart and even cracked the Billboard Hot 100 at number 29. By Christmas '95, Everclear's Santa Monica slid into MTV's buzz bin like it owned the place. One track, Heart Spark $, stirred the interracial dating pot. Art talked about how he dated a black girl once, and when he broke the news to his mom, sis basically dropped the "not in my house." But wait, Portland wasn't clapping. In fact, the city was low-key over Everclear's success. Word on the street, Art was difficult, shady with money, and kinda violent.
Behavior, even though I wasn't using drugs or drinking, became sex and lying.
Then the real tea spill. A domestic violence charge, and a little welfare fraud sitch popped up from his past. Like people went digging up his past. In '97, Art's feeling edgy, so he names Everclear's new album Pure White Evil. Capitol Records was like, not given. So Art packs up, bounces to NYC with just his acoustic guitar like it's an indie film, writes some new songs, and the band remixes everything. The final album? So much for the afterglow. It birthed Father of Mine, I Will Buy You a New Life, and Everything to Everyone. These 3 bangers hugged the top 5 like a clingy ex. The album went double platinum. Portland, still not impressed. And if that wasn't enough drama, their tour turned into a soap opera. In Boston, a bunch of New England Patriots players, including Drew Bledsoe, decided to stage dive.
Everclear concert and jumped off the stage and got sued.
But instead of looking cool, they crushed a poor 23-year-old woman's spine. Girls sued everybody, the players, the band, the venue, probably the bartender too. She walked away with over a $1 million out-of-court settlement. One time, Everclear hits Australia, and instead of getting down to business, Art and the bass player throw down like it's WWE backstage. Everyone thought the tour was canceled, but nah, they threw on their guitars and kept it pushing. After the tour, Art caught a creative itch and decided he wanted to dabble in R&B. The label heard that and hit him with a hard LOL no. They begged him to do another Everclear album instead. Art pitched a double album, so they chopped it into 2 volumes like Netflix splitting a finale. Songs from an American Movie Volume 1 popped off, platinum status, catchy singles, and Wonderful, which was another sad bop about divorce. But Volume 2, that thing flopped like a fish out of water. Harder sound, weaker sales. He later said the second album sounded lazy and tired.
Songs from American Movie Volume 2 sounds tired to me. I was tired.
Billboard barely noticed, number 66 and gone. Art's personal life wasn't doing any better. Dude admitted he cheated on his wife while sober, and the marriage with Jennifer Dodson ended.
I was going through divorce, making bad choices. I was sober, but I wasn't acting sober, you know.
Next album, Slow Motion Daydream, spelled the end for Everclear's OG crew. He also got married again to Stephanie Gregg, but within 5 months, Craig and Greg bounced. Art claimed it was mutual. Greg hit Reddit like, let's keep it real. Everclear was always Art's solo gig with a temporary crew. He basically said the band had a revolving door and nobody stays because, well, Art. Then came the financial apocalypse. Art got divorced again, lost his mom, and declared bankruptcy. IRS was on his neck for over $2 million. Had to sell his publishing rights for $600K just to breathe. Since the mid-2000s, it's been Everclear in name only. Art's the last man standing, surrounded by temp players. They dropped some albums, nothing major, and he also got married to Vanessa Crawford, who had a girl, Arizona Star, for him. His last studio album was in 2015. Then, in 2023, they released a live show from Whiskey A Go-Go, Rockin' On Barely. Then, in 2019, the bomb dropped. Art was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
We recommend these people, but we're pretty sure that you have multiple sclerosis.
And his dad? While Art's mom was dying of cancer, he begged his dad to call and apologize. Dude never did. But guess what? He remarried and played Daddy of the Year to his second family. He died in 2016, same year as Bowie. But Art said he felt Bowie's death more. Art Alexis isn't just about rock anthems. He's also a passionate activist. He's advocated for drug recovery, MS awareness, and veterans' rights, even speaking on Capitol Hill. On the acting front, he's appeared in a few indie films and TV shows like Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide and Cold Case, always bringing his raw, real energy to every role. Let's keep it real, Art wasn't exactly swimming in Grammys, but Everclear did score 1 Grammy nomination back in the day. Their instrumental track, El Distorto de Melodica, got nominated for Best Rock Instrumental Performance at the 41st Annual Grammy Awards. That's the closest he got to the gold gramophone. Art's net worth is at $2 million, factoring in royalties, tours, licensing, and the occasional acting gig. What is he up to now? If you thought Art Alexis was somewhere chilling on a beach, sipping chamomile tea and collecting royalty checks, think again. The Everclear frontman is out here proving that aging rock stars don't fade. It's been 30 years since Sparkle and Fade dropped in 1995, and Art's not letting that milestone pass quietly. Everclear kicked off a 30th anniversary tour this 2025 with special guests Local H and Sponge, reminding fans that the 90s might be over, but the angst is eternal. Bonus, there's a reissue of the album with some throwback goodies and unreleased tracks. All might call Art Alexis any name, rebel, loudmouth, survivor, but beneath the grit is a storyteller who turned pain into power, proving rock stars can be raw, real, and relentless.